See Hobbit. Director. I'm staring at you. You're fine. I'm just teasing you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you won't find it. It's fine. My material probably doesn't need its own chair.
Oh, no, yeah, I always like a chair.
Yeah. I'm gonna drop everything.
Okay, it being 6 o'clock, I'm going to call this meeting of the Ojai Valley Sanitary District Board of Directors in order. Once again, 6 o'clock on Monday, 3 March 2026. Allison, can a roll call, please?
Mr. Martinson.
Here.
Director Kentosh.
Here.
Mr. Berg.
Here.
Director Quillisi.
Here.
Director Reed.
Here.
And Chair Ulrich.
Here.
And it does not appear that we have Curtis on remote attendance this evening.
Right. In that case, then we'll move to the Pledge of Allegiance. Director Quillisi, would you like to lead it?
Yeah.
I
In allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation.
One nation. Indivisible.
Justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any additions or amendments to the agenda?
We have Director
Was there
Curtis
just
now.
for a moment.
Oh, he
Just
was there for a
disappeared.
second. He'll pop back up.
All right, then we move to item 5, which are public concerns. Items not on the agenda. 3-minute limit. Do we have any individuals in the public? Is there any necessity as far as submitting a card or anything?
I know, I'll record it for the administrative record.
Fabulous. In that case, could you please state, please go ahead and please state your name and what other salient trenchant information you deem know about?
I am Rochelle Naroyan. I'm with the California Special Districts Association, and I'm just here tonight to say thank you very much for being members of our association. Where our power comes are from numbers, and our membership numbers keep growing. We're over 1,000 members now. So thank you very much. We'll keep acting on your behalf and checking out what Sacramento does. We're in the midst of legislative season where over 2,000 bills which have been written are being reviewed by us right now. We read through every single one. So you'll be hearing a little bit more from us about bills that look great, bills that don't look so great. And so we'll be letting you know what we find out. I did bring some things for you. We have a brand new board member handbook that came out just this year. So it has updated information about the Brown Act revamp. That will be in there. We also have a Brown Act revamp website and just kind of a portal to use if you need more information about that. Inside your board member handbooks is a flyer about the new requirement for fiscal and finance training, which goes along with your 2 other state mandated trainings. So this is also required for every board member and general manager and other staff members to take. And that just went into effect this year. I also brought for you our Let's Learn catalog, which has all of our training opportunities to be in compliance and to know everything there is about governing a special district. And so I'm going to go ahead and hand this. I had 2 people reaching for it. And so we do have some upcoming events. We do have our annual conference that's happening in August down in Palm Springs. It'll be a nice high temperature towards the end of August, but we'll be at a place that has a pool. So that will be available to you. But I've been in my position for just a little over 2 years. And so my learning curve is pretty high about special districts. But I also am a former city council member. I live in Santa Cruz. The way CSDA is organized is most of our staff is up in Sacramento, but there are around 6 of us that are located throughout the state in the respective districts that we live and work in. I don't know if, I know this is public comment, so I know you don't react to anything or ask questions, but thank you very much for letting me be here. You're getting a copy of my card also. So if anything comes up, please let me know. I am the face of CSDA on the local level and look forward to working with all of you in the years to come. Thank you.
I have a question, if I may. What is your territory?
Santa Cruz County, all the way down to Ventura County, LA line. And then we pick up one non-coastal community, San Benito County. And there's 180 special districts in that area that I'm their contact for. So,
Coming.
of course, I love being in Ventura. It's not really a horrible place to be. I especially Ojai Valley, pretty amazing. So my pleasure to be here, but please, if you have other questions, concerns, you have my email, please let me know. All right. Thank you, everybody, for letting me be here today.
All right. Anyone in the waiting room?
Public comment online?
Oh, I can hear it. Okay.
Jack's on two,
He's on twice.
double.
There is a Michael.
So no one has any public comments that are in the waiting room, on digitally online. Okay.
Can
In that
you
case,
hear
I'm gonna
me?
move.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you might want to increase the volume a bit, Jack.
I got it wide open.
Okay.
It's me that I need to increase my volume, is what you're saying, right?
Let me see if Michael can get the picture.
Okay. All right. In that case, we're going to move to consent items number 6, 7, and 8. Does anyone have any questions, comments, or want to pull anything for subsequent review?
I'd like to move approval of items 6, 7, and 8.
Have a second?
I can second.
Okay. Case,
I just can't see the picture.
get a roll call, please.
Director Curtis,
Yeah,
Dr. Martinson,
Yes.
Dr. Kintosh,
Yes.
Dr. Berg,
Yes.
Dr. Quillisi,
Yes.
Dr. Reed,
Yes.
and Chair Ulrich.
Yes. Okay, action items, item 9, FEMA single audit representation letter to Fector and Company Certified Public Accountant.
So the district is through a single audit as required by FEMA and Cal OES. It is a requirement. I'm going to combine 9 and 10 in my presentation together. You expend, when we expend, not get reimbursed, expend $750,000 or more of federal funds, we are required to form a single audit for the fiscal year in which that occurred. The threshold is actually now $1 million, but the year in which we were subject to was 750,000. And that was the fiscal year 22-23. And we recently, it was requested of us to complete the single audit for that fiscal year by Cal OES, which happened directly after the completion of the audit for this fiscal year that just closed. So on here, we have Scott German and Josh Jackson, who both performed work on this single audit, which is item number 10. Item number 9 is merely the representation letter stating that essentially everything that we provided was true and accurate to the best of our ability, that we did so with the best of intentions. It is required that the board chairman execute this and provide it to the auditor. And then Josh and Scott are prepared to a little brief overview of sort of how the audit went, what they were looking at, and then the complete copy of the draft audit is enclosed on item number 10.
And to be clear, before they get started, the single audit is a requirement to said expenditure, in other words, monies that the district spent and were reimbursed by then Cal OES?
That we were seeking reimbursement for, so qualified expenses.
Right.
That's qualified at a later date, but the year in which they were expended as qualified expenses occurred in 22-23. So that is the year that is subject to the audit.
3 was before the floods.
January of 2023.
Inclusive.
22, 23. Oh, the fiscal year.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was aspiring to parity. Okay, so stay up. Okay.
Yes. Scott, are you ready?
I'm ready anytime you are.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Thanks for having us. So she's stolen a little bit of my thunder, but hopefully we can make this short and sweet and clarify a few things. So a single audit is only required when an organization spends a significant amount of federal money. So anytime you get federal money, make sure that you know the requirements for that before you accept the money, because sometimes they can be pretty onerous. Single audit, in the year that we're looking at, 2023, it was $750,000. In October, years starting on October 1st, 2024 and later, now that requirement is $1 million. So if you get a grant for over $1 million and you spend $500,000 in the first year, no single audit. You're still required to comply with everything. So make sure you understand the compliance requirements, but there's no single audit required. If an organization spends less, not single audit, no problem. Single audit focuses on how the money is handled and if it followed the rules for the federal grant, focuses on the biggest or the major programs. The idea is to avoid doing separate audits for each grant and instead do one single audit that looks at everything together. Normally, this would be done at the time of the financial statements audit. Why did we do it now? When the emergency funding was granted, we could never get any clarification from the grantor on if they wanted a federal audit, a single audit or not. So what we did is we did your financial statement audit in compliance with Yellow Book standards, just in case you needed the single audit later. So good thing we planned ahead. Management elected to postpone until they got clearer guidance, because if they didn't have to spend the money, they didn't want to. Smart planning. So since this is expenditures by fiscal year, will you need to do this again for 24? The answer is no. You can see here, total project in 23 was 4.5. In 24 is 510,000. So you don't even come close to the 750. So based on the timing of expenditures noted above, not for this grant. Next grant you get, possible, but not this one. So what reports do you have? This CFA, which is the listing of the expenditures by funding source. In this case, you have the one funding source, so it was pretty easy. Independent auditors reports. So the one that you got in 23 on the financial statements, we've already issued that following Yellow Book standards, like I said. Next one was report on the audit of the schedule of financial of expenditure of federal awards. And this one is just, did the district properly report the expenditures required as under the grant? And the answer is yes. The second report that you have with you today is a report on the compliance with this grant. So what this one does, there's a set of instructions from the Federal Clearinghouse that says, here's how you have to, what compliance requirements are for this grant. So what we have to do is we have to test that you complied with those. Simple answer is, did the district comply with them? The answer is yes. Findings. So there was no findings. And I'll tell you, in almost every other audit that we've done, single audit that we've done this year, we've had at least one finding for the CFA being wrong. And you folks even got that one right. So congratulations. That's great. With that, I'll take any questions.
Questions? Director Quilson.
Maybe it's just a matter of definitions of the works, but You said this is for any time that you spent more than 750,000.
Of federal money, of federal money.
We didn't, in 23, we didn't actually spend any federal money. Spent our own
No,
past
what,
reimbursements.
what
We're
you
being
did is
audited.
you spent money that was intended to be reimbursed under federal money. So the feds consider that federal money. Yes, it was out of your bank account. You hadn't received any reimbursement at all yet, but it's still federal
Hopefully,
money. at
we
that
haven't
point.
received any of it.
Yeah, right.
I understand that.
We're being audited on how we spent our money, their regulations.
Mhm.
Once the audit's done and you've given us a clean bill of health, does that help speed up the reimbursement any?
It should. Will it? I can't guarantee that.
Does that sound familiar? I've made that same argument multiple times. I'm like,
Yes.
no, but it's not money until they
But-
replace it with theirs.
Yeah. Yeah. And the issue is because you're seeking reimbursement, they're considering the $3.3 million to be federal money that's being reimbursed. So I know it's a picky point,
Actually is.
but they've got the money in their bank account. And if you want it in yours, you must comply with their requirements.
Look on that.
I was a defense contractor. I understand that.
I figured you did.
Any other questions? Okay,
How much have we gotten back?
Just over $1 million.
For both 2023 and 2024.
Three out of.
Next month, financial statements will have an updated balance on the last sheet because we just recently got two small
So that was all, and that was all for
2024. So our big ones from 2023, we're still waiting.
And you're not the Lone Rangers here. I've seen some of these take 4 or 5 years.
Thanks.
Thanks for that.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
So if it comes in faster, you'll be happy, right?
right. All right.
Lucky we don't shoot the messenger here.
That's why I'm up here in Sacramento.
Prudent. Okay, so roll call vote for one or both.
Can we do them separate?
Let's do them separately. Item number 9, do I have a,
The standard representation letter, right? It sounded word for word like the ones that we get annually.
Correct.
Hopefully this letter goes from us to,
Yes, right.
this is our letter that we're writing. Someone's written for us.
Yes, standard language.
Motion?
I don't have one yet.
I'll make a motion for 9.
I'll second it.
Director Curtis,
Yeah.
Director Martinson,
Yes.
Director Kintosh,
Yes.
Burt,
Yes.
Director Pelosi,
Yes.
Director Reed,
Yes.
and Chair Ulrich.
Yes. Okay, then we move to item 10. I need a motion.
To accept the audit report, I'll approval.
Director Curtis,
This is a vote on accepting the audit report, Jack.
Oh, yes.
Director
Yeah.
Reed,
Yes.
Director Kintosh,
Yes. Yes.
Director Pelosi,
Yes.
Director Reed, and Chair Ulrich.
Yes.
Thank you, Scott and Josh.
Okay, we'll be in touch tomorrow to work through getting this filed with the clearinghouse.
Perfect.
Okay, talk to you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good job.
Okay, item 11, proposed restated ordinance number OVSD-65, amending the district code of regulations, adopting new thresholds for policies and procedures governing public project contracts, professional service contracts, the purchase of supplies, equipment, and services, and the disposal of surplus property. So we have 3 options here. One is consider amending ordinance OVSD-65 is noted herein in concert with new public bidding thresholds and automatic adjustments per the Uniform Public Construction Cost Accounting Act and Assembly Bill 2192, increasing the award authority for public projects. B, conduct the first reading by title only of restated ordinance number OVSD-65. And C, direct staff to place restated ordinance number OVSD-65 on the April 27, 6 regular agenda for the second reading, public hearing, and adoption. That you, Scott?
It is, I can continue. Yeah, this was an update according to the Uniform Public Construction Cost Accounting Act. The OVSD 65 had last been revised on May 23rd of 2011. The UPCCAA updated a lot of their fiscal numbers in accordance with inflationary numbers. This was brought to the Finance Committee for review. Finance Committee took a look at it, and in general, they had a couple of general comments. One is there's a value of about $15,000, which was the GM award authority for public projects, and they recommended that it get increased to $50,000. The state law on that is $75,000, so it's been increased, but still less than the state law threshold. Another line that came up was the $30,000 for projects performed by force accounts. Negotiations, PO, or informal bid, that was at $30,000. They recommended that that also be increased to $50,000. The state law limit is $75,000. They also recommended, they being the Finance Committee, recommended that the informal process be changed from $175,000 to $200,000. The state law limit is $220,000. There's some other ancillary numbers in there that are summarized in the table that's in the memo. You can go in. I received some comments, and I'm happy to dive into any comments I received, or if there's any questions, I can dive into that also.
I'd just like to comment, I'd like to thank the board for giving us a little more time to with the committee and review this. And, you know, a recommendation, Steve, as a committee.
Our recommendation was revised limits that he was explaining just now.
Is that
Still less than the state maximum, but more than its current authorization spend, or limits on various means of coming to a contract.
I think we pretty much agreed as a committee.
We did, yes.
We'll move. Yeah, move item 11.
Read it by title only.
I think it is, right? Oh, we're only gonna be reading.
B and C.
It needs to be read by title only. This is actually the first reading of the ordinance.
Want to do that?
Sure.
You want me to read?
Ojai Valley Sanitary District restated ordinance number OVSD 65, an ordinance adopting policies and procedures governing public project contracts, professional service contracts, the purchase of supplies, equipment, and services, and the disposal of surplus property.
With that, I will make a motion to approve item 11 through C.
Second.
Awesome.
Director Curtis,
Yeah.
Director Martinson, Director Kentosh,
Yes. Yes.
Director Quillisi,
Yes.
Yes.
and Chair Ulrich.
Yes. Okay. Item 12, which is a discussion only. If action is taken, any actions taken, we need to have a roll call on it. Ojai Valley Sanitary District wastewater revenue refunding bond series. Discuss and provide direction to staff to work with Oppenheimer and Bond Council to prepare various options for refunding the existing, the existing 2000, yes, the existing 2016 series bonds at either par amount or par amount plus new money, with the maturity matching the existing September 1, 2037 maturity date. And B, discussing adding additional new money to the bond and provide direction to staff about adding new money to the bond.
That's the new money that's mentioned in paragraph A.
Correct. Correct. So We have any questions or discussion?
Can you give us a background on this? Because I feel like I don't really know much about what's going on.
Sure, absolutely.
Fresh our
I'll refresh it. So, if I remember correctly, prior to 2016, so in around 2006, the district issued a bond for, it was a revenue bond, and I think a fair amount of that money was used to construct the Miners Oaks siphon. It was about $8.575 million. It was refunded again in 2016. And the contract was reviewed by the Finance Committee. For your consideration now is another refunding now. And so it would be the refunding of the existing money with the possibility, if you wanted to add new money to it. So when we looked at it with the Finance Committee a few weeks ago, it was prior to a war in Iran and prior to the Fed did not drop rates as I think was expected. But in any event, the rates were different then than what they are now. I have Jeff Land here, and he can help understand some of the rates and outline. He's he's with Oppenheimer. So really what we're looking at is we have a bond that it may be fiscally prudent for us to refinance because the interest rates are lower now. But the reality is they're not necessarily meeting the minimum requirements now for recommendation. Fair enough?
Yeah, I can.
To summarize it, it's a possible refinancing of the existing bond at lower rates to try to save money for the district.
And what's the bond amount, current bond amount?
3.49 million, I believe, is what it is.
You know, I had some basic questions about the whole thing. We have enough money in our reserves to buy those bonds out.
No, you don't have it. I mean, you could, but it would take you to not enough money to have a contingency fund.
You have a particular project in mind for this new money? I mean, are we going to be rebuilding the plant or sewer plant?
This is so this wouldn't be the district purchasing out and paying for the bonds. This would be a possible refinancing of the bond at a now lower interest rate to reduce our annual, semi-annual payments for the bond. So it'd be basically a refinance of the existing bond, not adding any, either it's for your consideration, either adding or not adding any principal to it and keeping the term the same at 10 years. And because the interest rate is now lower, conceivably you could be saving money.
Like refinancing your house.
Correct.
But usually if I were to refinance my house, which I was known to do, I was refinance my house and have some for that money, either go on vacation or kids' college education or whatever. And so if we tackle more money, we'd have to see a tag of some kind saying this money is dedicated to X, Y, and Z. We have, and I don't know if that's included in the capital improvement plan, but I need more money, more information in order to rally behind a $2 million increase in our bonding.
I understand we have a closed session tonight to discuss things of that nature.
This isn't good.
That's one of the closed session items. Two other things.
You're saying there's a purpose for the $2 million request?
Yeah, yes, there is, if whether it's 0, 2, or 4, there is a purpose for any amount of money that for consideration. It would be not without a purpose.
I've always been a big fan of having large reserves because you never know what the future is going to hold. But lately I've been kind of rethinking that because if we have too much money in our reserves, I'm a target for attorneys and overzealous regulators or whatever who are looking for a little bit of cash. And so kind of rethinking my own perspective on reserves. And so there's some way, I'm not thinking of favor of borrowing more money so we can leave our reserves bigger. Maybe we need to talk as a board about, if you're saying we're gonna talk about that later, fine with me. No, all that money down and have less of a loan.
What's the debt, existing debt service? In other words, what are the bond payments?
What are we paying annually right now?
Right now.
875? Around 875,000.
So you're on the 3.5 million standing bond.
Your outstanding principal is about 3.5 million. Your current rate you're paying is 4%. The final maturity is 2037. You pay annual principal and semi-annual interest on that right now.
And this opportunity to refinance, does that come about every 10 years or?
It does. It's about yes, that's correct. So 10 years.
What is our hard fast deadline for September?
There isn't a hard and fast deadline, which is good. Really what it means is it's eligibility. So I was here, by the way, hello, everyone.
This is the first time we do it,
Yes.
not the last.
But yes, that's correct. That's correct. Hello, everyone. I had the pleasure of working for Ojai Valley Sanitary District 10 years ago. I did have a full head of hair then, so it might look older. But my name's Jeff Land. I'm an executive director with Oppenheimer with the Municipal Capital Markets Group. Had a pleasure of chatting with Scott over the last few months to see about this opportunity for refinancing. Scott is correct. It was looking really good maybe 3 weeks ago. There's been some volatility in our market. The bright side of that is, yes, rates shot up. That means they can go down pretty quick too, depending on how things get resolved over the next few weeks or.
It's like the price of oil.
Just like the price of oil, yes, sir. So we're really at a stage in which we're monitoring this to see, and maybe formulating a team so that the district can be proactive if the conditions are appropriate for either a refinancing or some sort of combination refinancing and new money funding, as has been laid out with those three various options. So yeah, tonight this is really an informative discussion to make the full board aware of the opportunity to reintroduce myself to you folks and basically to say there's a path forward. You will be eligible for refinancing. The close of refinancing come June, meaning that anytime after June, you can pull the trigger on it. So there's no hard deadline. I think if you're viewing it through the lens of, what are our time parameters? Obviously, interest rate environment could improve, but the longer you wait till after you're eligible for refinancing, the less time you have to achieve savings. There's not a whole lot remaining outstanding on these bonds. So if you want to potentially maximize savings, it's always a good idea to proceed if the conditions are appropriate. How do we know what is an industry standard for how do we know if something's appropriate for a refinancing, right? There's very clear guidelines from the GFOA regarding industry standards for public agencies with refinancing. And that number is if you are able to achieve 3% net present value savings, that is the guideline to which it is appropriate to refinance. As of last week, we dropped below 3%. We're at 2.5%. So that is if you did nothing else and just did a refinancing of your bonds, it would be one of those situations where I'm going to be in close contact with Scott. We're going to monitor the market conditions. If it bounces back above 3%, then that's a good indication that we have a green light to proceed based on industry standards. What's interesting about how this functions is the reason why Scott felt it was appropriate to present this to the Finance Committee and for the Finance Committee to have a discussion with the full board on this matter is if you're going to go to the market for a refinancing, there are some economies of scale that can be achieved by adding any new proceeds for capital improvement projects, meaning that it makes those capital improvement projects much more affordable if you're combining it with a refinancing, right? Because you're going to the market one time, you're paying one set of issuance costs, you know, your staff is dedicated, because obviously they don't moonlight as debt finance folks, so they have a more important job to do. So it's the idea of economies of scale and efficiency to approach the market if you had specified projects in mind that needed funding. So I believe that is the broader context to how to view what is being presented tonight. Just a little bit more information about myself since I'm here. It was funny, I ran into Rochelle because we are part of the CSDA Finance Corporation. So we're one of the, we're basically a consultant to CSDA. So any other options that may want to be taken into consideration following this discussion tonight, always happy to, you know, work with the district to find the best path forward, even if that is grant anticipation note, interim funding, bridge fund. Those are all options as well. So what we like to do in these circumstances is give you a lot of options so that you can make an informed decision. And with that, I will stop talking and let you ask any questions if you have any.
So I don't have a problem with refinancing if we're just going to a lower interest rate. That makes sense to me. I don't see anything in front of us that would say we need to add new money to that. Unless there's some magical thing going to happen at a closed session later. So
Well, earlier we were thinking about something.
we were.
Yeah, I mean,
So the next thing is in the absence of having a pressing need for additional money, it would seem to me to be prudent to wait for 2 or 3 weeks to do this because of the likelihood that the situation in Iran will settle and interest rates will drop back down again. I don't see a pressing reason to hurry and do this. But at the same time, it just makes sense. I mean, if you're paying a lower interest rate on a loan, that's a good thing. So it's not quite like refinancing a house in the sense of taking money for vacation, because that's not what we're doing. We're just refinancing the existing loan, not adding any money to it to go on a vacation.
Pulling money for the vacation is kind of the same thing as adding money to the refi.
That's what I mean. That's what it would be. Yeah. We're just giving ourselves, we're borrowing money to do projects that we don't have any idea what they are right now. Is what we would be doing. So anyway,
Without knowing what they are,
I'm
tough call. Yes.
gonna add money when I don't know what I want it for.
I got a question. I know next to nothing about finance, so I've got a really dumb question, but if you use the analogy of refinancing your house, there's another possibility when you're raising money. What we need is, we need some emergency backup. Storm and a millions of dollars. That's why I always am interested in having good amount of reserves, money in reserve. And another way of accomplishing that for your personal finances, to have a home equity line of credit. Well, is there any possibility we could take these bonds and convert them over to some kind of a line of credit where if we ever had an emergency and we needed money right now, we could go to the bank and draw down our credit?
So those are two separate things. So let me answer your question. You certainly can do a line of credit. That is an option that we can assist the district for, but that is a separate task. The two do not connect. So there's not a refinancing. The bonds have it's very simple, fortunately. Like, it's just a refinancing, you save money. How you want to spend those savings is at your discretion. If you wanted to have a line of credit, that's a whole other transaction, but that certainly you have that ability to do that. But they are separate.
Okay, well, thank you. At least maybe we might think about it at some point.
other questions?
Like refinancing your house. Kind of get a rule of thumb at new interest rate has to be X amount lower than what you're currently paying. Or it's not worth going through the exercise of rolling over the loan. And at this point, we're not, we know that it would save some money, but maybe not enough to make it worthwhile.
Not right as of today, right? And last time we all met, we were looking good, and that wasn't that long ago. So it's just subject to those iterations for sure.
So on a general question, if we wanted to do a refi and we wanted a certain rate, you know, as you just said, the interest rates changed significantly in the last 3 weeks. But they could always change significantly at any time. So what is the lock-in procedure? If we decide we want to do this, we want
Yeah, it's a great
1% rate instead of a 4% rate. So we go to you, and on that day, it just happens that that rate is 3.1. What we have to do to lock it so that the next war that starts tomorrow afternoon doesn't affect it.
So when you're talking about issuing bonds and issuing securities, it's a bit different than a bank loan. There is a bank loan market that we are very active in, but that market is not as aggressive as what you can get right now in the municipal bond market. Because you're issuing securities, we don't have an ability to lock the rate before pricing. So there is a lot of work that does need to be done leading up to the pricing day. Once we price your bonds, which usually occurs around 6 to 8 weeks after we have formed the finance team and begun the process, which does involve going and getting a credit rating with Standard & Poor's. So once you get to that pricing day, we sign with you something called a bond purchase agreement. And that means that we're pricing your bonds. Oppenheimer is now on the hook for all those bonds at a specific interest rate. And that is the rate that you're locked in. And that's when your savings are locked in. But it's a bit of there's more of a lead time in that process. It's not something that is locked ahead of time. There is a process in place. And so how do we manage that process? We have very clear lines of communication with staff. You have clear guidelines in a resolution that you approve saying, hey, if these bonds go above this rate, we're not moving forward. So that's how the process gets controlled and gives you guys that ability to maintain, to ensure that you're achieving the savings that is acceptable to the district.
So what are our savings if we save 1% on our rate? What does that work out to annually? 80,000 or something?
So if you were to look at, I can speak to the numbers just as they are today. And that's just if you just did a refinancing as of the current market. So your total cash flow savings over the 10-year period would be $102,000. Your average annual savings is $8,500 a year. That's your average. That's your
on a 1% difference.
That is based on a true interest cost of 2.84%. So 4% to 84, that gets you to the net savings number.
8,500
a year or $102,000. So as of right now,
I don't think we're.
Well, yeah. When we looked at it 4 weeks ago, we were looking at $15,000
Yeah, that starts to light me up. So,
I mean, yeah. So just
what do we have to do to? I mean, I would guess your company is expecting if the war clears up, interest rates will drop again. And so the question is, when is that going to happen? Is it going to be next week, the week after, a month after? And so what are you advising clients in terms of delay on starting these things? A month, 3 weeks?
let me
Don't give them any advice because you don't have any idea what he.
Well, first, that's a great point. So let me be very clear in a public meeting. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm an investment banker. So I provide you market information. You guys make informed decisions. What our clients do, what is standard practice in situations like this, which we've been through frequently, is you do have a team in place because I get paid on contingency. I'm not charging you hourly, right? I don't get paid unless we close. So you have your team in place and you monitor the market. And if the conditions look appropriate, you begin the process in earnest. And like I said, the way you control that process is via having not to exceed interest rate saying, Jeff, get the gang together, come back to us with a resolution for us to review, but we're going to have a specific number you need to hit. And if you don't hit it, you're not going. So if we feel that we can hit a certain number, then we go to market. So what agencies do in that situation is, yeah, they have their team in place because obviously there's a process, right? So they have their team in place so that they can move, smoothly and efficiently when the time is right. That's what they do. It's like a wait and see.
I assume there's a process for board approving in advance a range of numbers, right? Because you don't want to, unless we're going to call a special board meeting or something.
Yeah.
How does it work procedurally?
So it says the question about the resolution.
Procedurally to prepare the resolution.
Yeah, so what you would do is you provide verbal direction to your general manager. Hey, let's begin that process. We have a special counsel, which is called bond counsel, prepare all the related documentation, which includes a prospectus. We come to you at a regularly scheduled board meeting with that resolution. And that's when that's the process by which you approve it. So you'll have plenty of time leading up to that board meeting. We can go back to another finance committee meeting to present these findings, and then you come back to the full board with a resolution for authorization.
Mention 2.84. That the expected interest rate was 3 weeks ago or
That was last week. That was a week ago.
a week ago?
Last, it was better. It was better when we
Less
saw
than
it.
that?
What's that?
3 weeks ago, it was less than that.
Yes, sir.
And where is it today?
We ran it on this. I mean, it's
Over 3?
it might even be worse today. Unfortunately, we prepared this for a board agenda, so I did not run numbers today. This market is moving daily, right? So, yeah, we're clearly not there right now where we want to be.
Here's what I'm trying to understand. It seems like to make this happen, there needs to be a bunch of work done ahead of time. And then that goes on at some date, interest rate is this, and we approve, and then you do your final stuff. So, question in my mind is, knowing interest rates are doing this, and hopefully that, why don't we start on all this paperwork now? The idea that a month from now, the interest rates will have dropped again, and then we can do the final work, rather than waiting to do all this until they drop.
It's very perceptive, and that's what public agencies do in these situations.
So I say that again.
That is what other agencies do in these circumstances.
They go ahead and start with the base work.
Yeah.
And then when the time comes, they're either, and if they do all that base work, does that expire? What if we have to wait another?
No, that's a great question. So the one thing that it does not expire, especially over this time period, we're talking about a very acute time period,
6
right?
months maybe.
It doesn't expire. The one thing that we would have to be thoughtful about is when we go to the rating agency, that's Standard & Poor's, to get your credit rating. They are the only ones that charge what's called a non-contingent fee because it's a conflict of interest. If they were to charge you on contingency, that's a conflict of interest to give you a rating. So we go to them and get your rating, right? And let's say, so we would want to make sure that we are seeing some improvement in the market before we go through that step, right? Because they're going to need to get paid a fee. That fee will be under $20,000, but it's not insignificant, if you will. So we just need to be thoughtful about how we would do that process. Everything else before going to the rating agency, that's no problem. There's no issues with doing the work, and that there's no expiration on that work. The rating does have an expiration. I don't know what it is. It might be 6 months. I think it's about 6 months. There's an expiration on your rating. So obviously you wouldn't want to be in a situation where you're going to get a credit rating and you can't close in 6 months because now you have a bill to pay and your rating's no good. So we want to avoid that.
And so this 8,000 a year we were going to save, does that include the cost of that?
Yeah, yes, all your savings are net. So yeah, the savings are net that we've discussed tonight.
Personally, I'm indifferent doing anything with this right now, but you guys can decide.
Well, the issue is we either just discuss this, we take a motion and a second and a roll direction to staff and the, what we want to do about that. Have a consensus or?
In essence, I think what we're talking about here is the form of the paperwork is pretty standard. Somewhere hidden in it all, there's going to be the prime number, then filters out and fills in all the other pages with different numbers. But the overall, you've got like one number you have to pick. Then all the calculations get done and the pages get filled in with whatever numbers they are. And we can do all the rest of it before we pick that number.
I think the only reason not to do that is if we somehow believe that interest rates are gonna do this rather than that.
Well, then you pull the plug.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
And
you
then
know, I think
whether,
everybody's
then
expectation.
whether you've gone even so far as to, acquire the rating, that's just funds that have to be written off based on the financial markets.
And we
don't have.
we had a, I guess it was the finance committee.
A bunch of rascals, I'm told.
No, oh yeah, well, he goes without saying.
Recommended,
But we got a double A from S&P already.
Yep.
And the question is, at least one of my questions is, does that change if we just refi the $3.5 billion right now? Suspect it doesn't change.
It's unfortunate that was the monitoring of the existing bonds, and we have to go back if you're gonna go do another transaction, if you're gonna do a bond issuance.
If we're gonna do anything other than a 1-for-1 refi, we need a new rating.
You need a new rating if you do just a refi. Yeah, if you do anything, you need a new rating. Yeah, it's because what they provided you was not, it was a monitoring, it was rating monitoring, so it was an affirmation of your existing rating. It wasn't a new rating on your refi.
The new analysis. Just, we haven't seen anything shocking that would make us change
And that's,
analysis.
you have a fantastic credit rating. Part of why you have such a fantastic credit rating is because of your level of reserves, which affords you to the ability to even have interest rates that are this aggressive. So obviously, yes, we expect the AA rating when you go to market. Yeah, it certainly would put you in a good position.
I would support city with paperwork,
Mhm.
but with no new money.
Okay.
This other you need to know where I am.
I'm- I'm happy with going ahead with the paperwork. I would like at least to have somebody who is knowledgeable here say, first of all, we need to understand what urgent capital improvement programs we have that might be an argument in favor of extra money. And that's kind of a squishy thing. But at least give us an idea of what we really need to get done that's going to cost an extra million or $2 or $4. And then 10. I'm a capital improvement program list is always way bigger than hoped it was. But then is it possible to, I'm not talking about pulling a number out of someplace. But is there a reasonable kind of thought process someone in your position goes through to say, I'm guessing if you added $1 million, it doesn't change the AA. If you add $4 million, you're going to be a single A or
Yes.
A or
Based on your existing coverage, you have a lot of runway that you can go before you're going to be in a position where you get a downgrade. So it is, I can tell you from looking at your debt service coverage, which is, for every dollar of debt, how much you have available. You have much more than, you can go much more than this board is probably comfortable spending. Let's put it that way. So you're within even talking to for, that's not going to move on your credit rating. And believe me, it's not in my interest to try to sell something that has a lower credit rating, right? So I want you to maintain as strong of a rating as possible.
And then we can talk about, and we put all this paperwork together and wait for that one number that's going to proliferate through the rest of the document. And expect that that number is going to be something like what it was 3 weeks ago.
That could be, yeah, I mean,
Given time.
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and predict interest rates, right?
Sure.
But we can certainly look at market dynamics, and if we see rates coming back to what we were looking at before, we can say this is our ceiling. We do not want to go rates. We do not want you to go above what this ceiling is. Anything that goes above this ceiling, we're not doing the deal. The goal, of course, is to get well below the ceiling, right? But yes, we can through the market, because the market is very transparent.
Bid on stock, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
I would be interested in doing that. Because we're still talking about, we can say no deal. We can say only a straight refi. In any case, and this multitude of paper has to be done, whatever we choose to do, except a deal.
And if I may, to help the discussion, the numbers, if you did ever want to add, that decision does not need to be made immediately. That can be something that can be made or as adjusted through the next few months, few weeks during the process. You need to have a good idea if you're going to add any additional proceeds to the refinancing. You need to know what that's going to be before you go to a rating agency. But to do the preliminary work, you don't need to make those decisions right now.
I like having those options.
I do too, until we have to spend money. Credit rating is 20,000. As long as we don't require a credit rating, want to do this ahead of time, I don't have a problem with that. Personally, I would wait a couple of weeks and see how the war plays out and then start it, but whatever you guys want to do.
In that case, do I have a motion? Have a motion?
Bill's like, I have a motion.
Let's discuss.
Well, no, it says have to take action, then we roll call.
I see.
My motion then would be that we direct staff to work with Oppenheimer and bond counsel to prepare options funding the existing 2016 series at either par or par plus new money with at least a couple of increments of new money. Definitely want to keep the maturity date the same, but give us an idea of what happens to our credit rating, your best estimate, clearly, because nobody can do that otherwise. And at the same time, we need to hear from staff, what's the justification for new money? So something from staff and something from Oppenheimer. That's my motion.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you, Jack.
all right. Okay, so
Yes.
Nelson?
Director Curtis,
Yes.
Martinson,
No,
Director Kintosh,
Yes.
Berg,
Yes.
Director Quillisi,
Yes.
Director Reed,
Yes.
and Chair Ulrich.
Yes. Okay,
Thank you for having me. Good seeing you all again.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming back.
All right. Items 13 and 14 are closed session. I'm gonna move those to the end of the end of the meeting. So we're going to address 15 items 15 through 23 at this point. So,
Yeah.
the financial report, anything there? Monthly investment report, tab report. Operation and management.
I have a question for the operations report. I see there was a 3-day spike in the turbidity levels and caused that.
We don't know. There's a handful. The reality is that 3-day spike did not come out of the sand filters. It came out of the oxidation ditches. So Bradshaw and I looked at it. There's a handful of things it could have been. It could have been something that blew into the oxidation ditches. Well, when I say it's the chlorination ditches. So it was not the sand filters. We were using chlorine disinfection at the time.
You did have a real bad windy day on a couple.
So it could have been that. It could have been sloughing of the concrete. Yeah, the answer is we don't know. We did look at it. Not in the report, but I'll give my verbal. We prepared a letter that went back to our person at the regional board. Is we did not exceed our limit. Our limit is an NTU of 2, which really means that if you were to do average numbers and significant figures, it comes back to 2.49 because we recorded 3 significant figures on our instruments, and our highest reading was 2.34. We don't know what caused it. It had something to do with what was happening in the chlorination. We don't know. It had a 3-day spike. It went away. We've been monitoring it after. It hasn't come back. We've subsequently switched over from chlorination to UV, and we have not seen it coming out of the UV system.
Compare it to the time period with the we had. It was a couple weeks ago. I remember howling wind in the night.
I'd have to go back. No, I specifically didn't. I didn't compare it, but it's a possibility. We do not know what happened.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, right. The MDL update.
Yeah, I'll just go over it real quick because it is a review and file. Stantec issued a draft denitrification startup operations summary for us. It's included here if anyone's interested. Bradshaw and I are still diving into the specifics of it. Before we adopt it, we want to make sure that operationally we're all on the same page. Bottom line is we've run through the winter mode at this point. And starting next week, we're going to start ramping up into summer mode because it's going to take a couple of weeks for the filters, the D-Nite filters to acclimate. So that process is going to start next week. So expect a change as we go into D-Nite mode using the Dynasand filters.
Expect a change.
It's a change in our operation. So we will be injecting Micro C 1000 into the D-Nite filters. We'll be changing the Micro C 2000 concentrations into the oxidation ditches. We're expecting more sloughing, which is what we saw last time from the Dynasand filters as it goes through the UV channel. So we're expecting an operational change as we start to inoculate the Dynasand filters and start to grow the bacteria in the Dynasand filters just upstream of the UV system.
And the nitrogen level is lower in the summer than.
Our limit requirement is lower in the summer, yes.
Item number 19 is just really a letter that affirms our AA rating. Standard & Poor. 20 committee reports on the March 9, 2026 Finance Committee and March 3, 2026 Ordinance Public Relations and Newsletter Committee.
The Finance Committee met and we recommended that we refinance the bond. We just discussed that, so that sums it up.
Okay.
The ordinance committee talked about EU regulations and asked not a new, but confirmation of the previous opinion, HCD, on our.
Nothing to report yet, but in the process.
So at this point, that means we're waiting on HCD yet. Okay, well, that should be a while. See? Okay, very good. Right, then, item 21, reports on meetings, seminars, or conferences attended. Okay. Items of interest, correspondence, articles, anybody? All right, you have, board member comments? Item 23. Okay. Then we have item B, general manager comments.
So I'll make a couple of quick comments. We did receive $174,000 of FEMA reimbursement for the 2024
Claims.
yeah, in Foster Park. So there's a little bit of a headway there with FEMA. I presented to the Board of Realtors, it was almost a month ago now, but it was, after this last board meeting we had. I want to give a shout out to the realtors that they let me know that there's a little bit of effort for them to maintain the PSLs and to keep their clients rolling. And I appreciate their extra work that they do so that we can maintain the PSLs in accordance with our ordinances. So I appreciate the realtors out there in the world that are helping us. Also want to let the board know that I spoke at the Rotary Club of Ojai. That was last Friday. It was just a general gist of what does OVSD do? How do we do it? Who do we do it for? What do we not do? It was an interesting meeting. So it was well attended, and there were some good questions coming out of that.
Is that Rotary or Rotary West?
Rotary.
So lacking anything else, I think we're going to go in a closed session now.
Yes, the board will now go into closed session on two items. One is to confer with legal counsel on anticipated litigation. Second item is for a public employee performance evaluation for the general manager. We will convene afterwards and run any reportable action that was taken.
Okay, so at this point, I'm going to close the public session at 7:06.
Unlock the room. Mr. Chairman, we're back in.
Okay, so we're going out of closed session and back into open public session at 7:50 p.m.
So the board met on both the closed session items. However, there's no reportable action that was taken.
Very good. Okay. Lacking anything else, any further business, I'm going to adjourn this meeting of the Ojai Valley Sanitary District Board of Directors at 7:54 p.m. Thank you.